Welcome to part 2. We had a relatively good start to this game, so let's pick up where we left off and see where things go. First is another interlude to explain how Lena became Kai, which begins sometime after they began training for the Ranger Corps. Kai was called for a secret mission, but then comes back to see Claude and Raz badly injured. He can't ask for help because he can't afford to be seen, so he begs them to cover for him since he's going to be leaving the army?
Please, you two are the only ones I can turn to.
How long have we known each other, man? This is the first time you've asked us to do anything. Just tell me one thing. We can trust you on this, right?
If we help him, we might get court-martialed or worse. So obviously the answer is yes! In any case, he sends his body double in the form of his sister. Since the new drill sergeant doesn't know what he looks like, it ends up working out there. But that still leaves the rest of the squad members who do know what Kai looks like needing to follow on their end. They eventually agree, and they end up helping Lena in moments that could have blown her cover.
Yeah! Kai barged into the woman's showers yesterday. Can you believe him? So we had to punish him. If he likes girls' underwear so much, he's gotta wear them during training. How do you like that, Kai? No more accidents, huh?
She's not totally convincing in her impersonation of Kai, but we'll save that for later. For now, one of the last training exercises involves her using a rifle. Since her squad mates don't think she's ever used one before, they help by playing dead whenever she tries shooting them. But as it turns out, she is experienced with guns. It's just that the sights were off. So what happens when they're fixed?
What? How is she that good? Bullseye. Everyone. She might even be a better shot than Kai.
And thus Lena became Kai. We don't know what became of the real Kai, at least for now. But jumping back to the present, our heroes board a snow cruiser heading to the capital. It's one of 3, and this one is called the Centurion. It becomes our new headquarters for managing the squad, and we get acquainted with some crew members like Captain Morgan, radio operators Marie and Luth, and navigator Brian Haddock. Claude learns that he's been promoted and in charge of the convoy over Minerva. Makes sense, given that she's not feeling great after losing her squad. Either way, we learn that the ships are part of a contingency operation called Cygnus, which has supplanted Northern Cross in priority. Makes sense. Keep the enemy split between having to fight on land as well as sea. Claude is then allowed to assign a single leader unit to any character who's fought in enough battles up to this point. It's a promotion that makes the unit akin to a main character, so now they have a command point and cannot die. Afterwards, Claude tries mending fences with Minerva. And while she hasn't forgiven him over what happened to her squad, at least she recognizes that he's in a better place to lead than she is. So...
Claude, I am prepared to do whatever it takes. I'll cast everything aside. If it means I can avenge them. If it means we can win. Staying locked in a petty contest of pride is only going to hold us back. Command me as you see fit, Claude. Bring us the victory you promised our allies. Our friends died fighting the Empire. Now it's our duty to avenge them.
Yeah. I know.
With this, she joins our group as a scout, and a damn good one at that, since she later has the ability to refresh her AP bar at random. This allows her to escort units across the map, and mobility is always welcome in a game like this. Another unit we have is Ronald, who is the tank driver for the Glory. So now we have 3 vehicle units to manage. Next we have a fight breaking out between Raz and some Navy officers who were picking on him for not liking sea life.
I'll show you how to throw a friggin' punch!
That's the thing about idiots. They never learn unless you make them learn.
What the hell? Hey, Riley! You can't just grenade us! Holy! Retreat! Retreat!
Whoa! Riley, was that alive?
Custom grenade, full of chili powder, pepper, and powdered mustard.
So Claude organizes a joint military exercise to get everyone on equal footing. This is when we try issuing out a new kind of order called ship orders, which can be used more often with more upgrades and can be very useful depending on the moment. Radar, for instance, lets you scan an area within range of the Hafen to find hidden enemies. Bombardment lets you blast an area with the ship's cannons, while Rescue Squad takes away units who aren't dead yet and heals everyone else. Emergency Fix lets you redeploy fallen vehicle units, including the Hafen, which is good since that's where you issue orders, and when it goes, they go with it. After that, we're told to stay deployed because of possible enemies showing up. So far, it's just a villager who warns us that the Empire took their village for requisition, so more people will show up to ask for help. Claude lets them on board despite orders telling him not to, leading to a hold the line mission that introduces a pair of new enemies. These two scouts are highly aggressive and have crossbows that can do a lot of damage. They even blow up vehicles if they hit their radiator. But after you get the Hafen to the waypoint, the girls back off. The civilians are then dropped off somewhere, but not before one of them gives Kai something. Meanwhile, Walls ends up meeting with the main villain of this game, Heinrich Belgar, lead scientist for XO, which specializes in experimental weaponry. He is, of course, the man who killed Riley's family.
Klaus Waltz, I would like for you to lead my personal squad, XO. Luck hasn't exactly been on your side, has it, Colonel? Blamed for the loss at Ziegfall, relegated to supply duty. But we both know that's a bit beneath you, isn't it? You're the most talented commander in the Empire.
Of course, Walls isn't interested at first, until Belgar makes veiled threats about refusing. So, yeah. We then meet more baddies, like those two scouts, Nicola and Kiara, who I like to call the Hell Twins. The team's main strategist is this guy named Forsetti, who looks awfully familiar, don't he? Okay, who are we kidding? He is the real Kai Shulin, and he asked a villager to give Lena the radio as seen earlier. Back over to Squad E, we get better acquainted with the captain of the ship, who lost an entire ship crew before leading this one. Riley is now working alongside a ship engineer named Andre, voiced by Kirk Thornton, and they're learning more about Ragnite engines. She's interested since it's related to her father's research. And there's also the ship's furnace that no one is allowed to go near. Must be important if it's that big of a secret. At any rate, the crew learns that one of their ally ships, named the Comet, needs rescuing from an enemy attack. At first, it seems like we only have to deal with Walls and Forsetti, but here comes a new enemy!
Oh, shit.
Her. That's her. The Winter Witch.
Oh my god, it's Juvia! Wait, Juvia had blue hair. That's clearly purple. This is Chrymeria, voiced by Veronica Taylor, and she'll be our main Valkyria antagonist for the game. Instead of wielding a lance like some other Valkyria in the series, she uses a staff to rain down ice on her enemies. It's powerful enough to take down vehicles, and that attack resembles that of a grenadier. So as long as your units take cover, they'll be fine. You still have to take the main enemy base though, so shooting her with a sniper can draw her attention away and give your other units time to move towards said camp. But there's also a sense that the Empire messed Chrymeria up real bad, and she doesn't want to know what'll happen to her if she fails. The Hell Twins picking on her doesn't help matters, and at some point she snaps by not following Forsetti's orders to capture both ships.
No. Stop. Please.
Well then, now I see why she's the Winter Witch. She then almost does the same thing to the Centurion, but Walls calms her down. All All things considered, this will be the start of something for these two, but for now, the Centurion needs to avoid sinking. Rather than activate the backup generator right away, Morgan tells them to wait. Thus, the ship seemingly sinks below the ice. Everyone is naturally confused and scared, but soon they discover that they aren't doomed. They still can't kickstart the main and backup generators, so they have to survive in a literal freezer. Back over to the villains, Belgar and Forsetti talk about Chrymeria and her capabilities as a Valkyria. Belgar thinks she can be recalibrated, but Forsetti still sees her as human.
The more you have to fiddle with a machine, the more attached you tend to get. Though even that has its limits. Nicola and Chiara, those two chose poorly. Perhaps a bit of recalibration will set them straight.
Nothing like a little physical abuse, or whatever the hell he does to them. Anyway, they think the Centurion hasn't sunk, so some people are sent after it. Walls pops the question as to why Kai chose to defect, but then we see him getting a call from Lena. Is he using her to spy for him? Back on the ship, Claude goes over his squad's options while Morgan lectures him about making these important decisions. Then the enemy attacks, so now you have to hold them off while Riley and the engineers work on restarting the generator. The key strategy is to get your snipers to the high ground to pick off enemies dropping from the air, then shooting the bombs before the turn is over. Because if enough bombs blow up, you lose. So your forces are stretched thin. Oh, and the Hell Twins are here too!
That clunker's engine is shot. They're not going anywhere.
Ah, there's nothing like toying with my prey.
There, please.
They're as tough as they are crazy, but after enough turns, the mission ends and the plot continues. Riley is doing her best, but nothing seems to work.
Everyone's fighting for their lives. You don't get to lie back and take a break. Okay, Dad made you, didn't he? That means you gotta listen to his daughter. Come on! Work! Work, damn it!
What? You gotta be... How'd that even work?
It worked for Dad. If his machines broke down, he'd just smack them.
Yeah, but that machine will remember that. So the ship finally moves and the Hell Twins cry. Claude and Riley talk for a bit, and while he sounds cheesy at parts, he gets across the main point that she inspires him and gives him courage. It's his way of saying that he likes her, and Riley admits that the feeling is mutual. But then they hear Rags as he found something. A child? What's that doing here? Seems Kai knows what she is, and she doesn't like what needs to be done. Even with an examination by ship Dr. Sergio, played by Patrick Seitz, no one knows who she is. The heroes might have to question her in case she's the one leaking their location to the enemy, and Riley thinks that doing this crosses the line. There are bigger issues like low supplies and the ship running slow, both of which make it harder to reach the capital. But Claude wants to press on, which involves getting past a heavily guarded Imperial fortress with the help of the naval troops. But how is he going to get them on his side?
You think a motivational speech will win this war? I didn't pass up a promotion for you to just talk. You're here now because of your intelligence, your wit. No matter what you faced, you found a way through. You led your squad through each and every victory. You already have what it takes to get this crew to fight for you. And it damn well isn't your way with words.
Thank you, Minerva. I feel like some kind of fog is lifted in my mind.
Claude then gets an idea to use fog as a cover for their infiltration. They'll drop into the fortress with balloons and destroy its artillery before escaping once the ship gets through. Miles is the only character who objects to this plan, so he shares his concerns with Claude, who admits to being scared too.
I'd be too afraid to do it alone. But if I've got everyone behind me, I know we can do it. Reminding myself that we're all in this together gives me the strength to do the impossible.
The mission starts with characters split up, but once you destroy one artillery section, the rest are easy pickings. Demolition Boost really helps the shock troopers damage Ragnite engines, so you don't need the Lancers to do the same thing this time around. Once both cannons are down, everyone regroups and helps Claude get back to lead the backup group. Miles is with Minerva, who tells him that he can't go back on whatever choice he makes here. This becomes vital after you win, where Claude seems to cover for his squad, only to have Miles bust in with the Hoffen to save his commander in turn. After a victory celebration speech, Raz confronts Kai over her acting weird lately. It's clear that he has feelings for her, and this gets tested by what she says next.
I've betrayed everyone. Claude, Riley, you, everyone. It makes sense, right? I never could say no to my brother. Ever since we were little, I can't just do whatever my brother tells me. I can't keep betraying everyone. Get off me!
Shut up. Just shut up and stay like this for a second. Listen to me, alright? I don't know what you did, and I'm not gonna ask. I don't give a shit, you understand? You're not a traitor. And even if you were, it doesn't matter. How could it? I mean, ever since we were kids, I love you. What kind of guy would I be if I can't forgive a single mistake from the girl I love? It's been hard on you, right? And you regret all of it, and you're not gonna do it again, right?
Raz might be a bit too forgiving here, but he has the right idea by giving her a second chance. She's better now, and she knows he loves her.
Oh shit! I did it! I actually said it!
Anyway, the girl finally woke up. She only remembers her name, Angie, short for Angelica, and Riley chooses to stay with her this whole time. Back over to the villain's side, the Hell Twins finally report to Belgar, and when he hears the bad news, he does this to them.
I'd rather we don't have any miscommunication like this. But you understand, it's because I love the both of you. Now then, let's begin the calibrations.
Remind me to stick a rifle up his ass when my squad runs into him again. We then get another interlude, which is just Angie going around and helping various people on the ship. She has more to do in later chapters, but for now we see that she really is a sweet girl who wants to help others, so naturally our heroes love her in return. We can only hope nothing bad happens to her.
I'm so happy I met you all. I promise I won't forget you. Never, ever. You gave me so much. These presents, these memories. I'll remember them forever.
The next chapter has the ship reaching a town and resupplying. There is a resistance group that's willing to help us by pointing to Imperial warehouses with everything we need. But Angie and Rags snuck into a supply truck when she feels someone calling her. We'll get back to her later. For now, your units need to take out enemies and avoid spotlights while heading to the correct warehouse. With how they're labeled and scattered around, it isn't easy looking for the right one, or any enemy aces, though the latter is obviously optional. This is where Lena runs into her brother, who tells her what happened with the comet wasn't intentional and that the Valkyria shouldn't really exist. She tries getting answers about the methods he's deployed to get her to cooperate.
Soldiers aren't the only ones who put their lives at risk. You've seen it yourself, haven't you? Changing the world takes compromise. Otherwise, the tragedies of history will only be repeated.
Forsetti is obviously trying to channel Claude, but Lena tells him that he would continue fighting without needing to sacrifice people. They keep arguing, with Lena being guilted by her brother because of what she had to do to help him, before the rest of her friends show up.
War has changed, Claude. Nations fight each other, but it's not about territory or resources anymore. It's become its own culture, its own catalyst, its own reason, Claude. It's human insanity made manifest. I saw that insanity myself. I saw the way war had been twisted, and I vowed to stop it.
Man, to see your old friend turn out like this. Forsetti tries to turn Claude to his side, but obviously fails, and our heroes need to leave once Imperial reinforcements show up. Meanwhile, Angie meets Chimera and Fenrir. her pet wolf. She doesn't know either of them, but she's so lovable that Chrymeria offers to help her out, because she knows what she is.
I'll show you what you can do for all those nice people. All the people who protect you.
Tell me, I just want to help.
Very well. In that case, remember who you are. Remember why you are here.
Who I am?
With this, her memories will come back and she now has to pick a side in this conflict. Seeing that her friends are retreating, she decides to join them for now. With their new supplies, they can continue with the mission. But they do ask Lena about her meeting with Kai. She isn't fully ready to admit to what she did, and the rest of Squad E do not press her on it. Riley goes over to talk with Angie, who mentions how she knows so little about her past. But that only means that they need to make new memories, starting with pudding!
It's so sweet! There's lots more where that came from, so have as much as you want. Okay. Thank you, Riley.
Meanwhile, Raz and Kai have a moment together before she knocks him down, and then...
Idiot.
Huh?
Worked better than a punch, didn't it?
Yeah. Now that's a knockout.
Claude eventually decides to once again help the resistance group his team ran into. This time they're trying to save someone who's been helping them, only to be captured by the enemy. And they're gonna have to go up against an enemy ace named Ixa the Metakiller. If you try to save a fallen unit while he's out, he will actually try to take a shot at Karen, so you need to beat him quickly if you want to save people again. Besides that, you just need to defeat the enemy tank and capture the main enemy camp. You can use marked doors to get through alleyways and sneak around, but regardless, you manage to rescue the hostage, who is now safely inside one of the cars. Then there's this little scene involving this resistance fighter named Mika, who we've met in the previous chapter, who's looking forward to the birth of his child. He would even name the baby Claude if it's a boy. And...
Damn it! They're after the general!
Mika! Is he...
well, on a lighter note, Angie helps Sergio heal people. She wishes she can continue like this forever, but given earlier foreshadowing from the higher-ups about her needing to return on her own will, I have a bad feeling about what she will do. That time may be when an allied ship gets attacked by the enemy. Before we tend to that, though, we get one last interlude involving Walls and Chrymeria. Forseti is planning to capture the Centurion and reports this to Walls, but when asked why, he simply mentions a promise he made. He also warns Chrymeria not to fail this mission, or else she'll be back in the lab for testing. Walls isn't happy when he hears this, since in his mind, his subordinates should be comrades.
Of course. Live together, fight together. What else would you call that but comrades? So come on. We can afford to act like a team, right?
We later see Chrymeria sulking about her treatment. It also doesn't help that she gets compared a lot to Silvaria, the main Valkyria of the first game. She clearly wants help, and the only one willing to give her that is Walls.
I told you to stay out!
Fine, my bad. You're right, it's rude to enter a lady's room without permission.
Then leave me be. You could wait a millennium and still I wouldn't invite you in.
Oh. So I have to stand out here 1,001 years? Fine by me. You're worth the wait.
He's certainly the hero she deserves, but not the one she needs right now. Belgar recalibrated the Hell Twins and tells Forseti about the Empire moving all of their troops to the capital. Whether they're aware of Operation Cygnus, we'll learn soon. But first, let's get a scene of Walls trying to cheer up Chrymeria and offering her a place with him instead of the lab she was in.
You think you deserve to be locked up in some loony bin? To hell with that. I'll never let those bastards have you. If you want somewhere to belong, look no further. When you laugh, when you cry, I'll be there. For all of it.
Fenrir, teach this insolent oaf his place.
Ah, damn it. Think about what I said, Chromaria. You do have a place where you belong!
What a fool.
I see your smile. Next chapter, Claude is forced to choose between saving the Cavalier, the allied ship in question, or abandon it. Claude wants to do the former since keeping it around helps their chances, and it's a way to prove to Minerva that he isn't going to abandon his allies. This is also a chance to take out Chromaria rather than in the capital where the odds aren't in their favor.
Mr. Wallace, I've made my choices based on my own determination. I suggest you do the same. But remember, we're soldiers, not machines. We have to carry out our mission, but that isn't our only purpose. You should always make choices that you won't regret, even if they aren't the right ones.
Once we arrive, the map feels empty, so your units spend time capturing bases. Then, Chromaria and Walls try to surround our heroes with a pincer movement, and the only way out comes from pushing forward. This means defeating Walls by targeting the engine on the hood of his tank, which requires the Lancers to get onto the high ground and issuing orders to make sure they don't miss. The difficulty spikes for this mission make it incredibly hard to earn the A rank, and it took me many tries to do just that. After winning, our heroes get a message from the Cavalier to get out because it activated some kind of bomb. During all this, Angie is struggling to patch up her allies, and Morgan was badly injured during the mission. Claude now has to take command, and nobody tells him why the Cavalier is about to blow up and how. They can't escape the blast zone anyway due to the shoddy reactor, and this is when Riley learns of what Angie is capable of.
I remembered who I am. Well, I sorta remembered a while ago. There's something I have to do. It's the only way I can help everyone.
Yep, another human battery. We've been getting a lot of those lately. She tells her that she wants to do this because she loves our heroes, and despite Riley's protests, she makes her way inside the reactor to make it work properly.
You're an amazing sister. Thank you, Riley, for everything. You can't. Please don't go.
With the reactor at full power, Claude and friends can flee the blast zone. The enemy, having caught on a bit earlier, ends up leaving, but then they realize what kind of bomb the Cavalier had.
What is that sound?
Holy sh**!
Don't look away, Captain. That light is our last hope.
Forseti becomes enraged and upset over what transpired, and Chromaria seems to have heard what happened within that ship, with the help of her powers. Only Belgar is super happy about this because he is reminded of Riley's father and his research.
I am the one who will change this world as Al's friend. It is my privilege, my right. Yes, I will be the one to finally grant your wish.
Claude arranges a meeting about what he learned about Operation Cygnus. Turns out each ship is powered by a Valkyrian child like Angie, and once they reached the capital, those children were meant to destroy the place with their powers. Nobody is happy to hear of this, but Brian tries to convince Claude that he needs to complete this mission. even with all the ethical issues involved. Riley then shows everyone a letter left behind by Angie. It details her past and has a mix of sadness and joy because she still feels a commitment to helping people out of a sense of duty.
I'm really proud that I could help protect everyone. Thank you, Riley. And tell everyone else thanks, too. Goodbye.
Now we know why Forseti left the Federation, because this pretty much crosses a line. That line. All that is left is for our heroes to live by Angie's wishes to fight for peace. And right on time too, as the enemy shows up again. And this time, Chromaria and Walls are not taking prisoners. Orders be damned. For this mission, we just have to take out Walls with the same strategy as last time. But this time, Chromaria will try to join up with him for a team-up move. Though I didn't see that in my playthrough. Walls seems to die for real this time, and he thanks our heroes for giving him a great battle. Chromaria obviously is reeling from this loss, leading to her going berserk and starting a blizzard. To defeat her, you need a sniper to shoot the core of her staff, then the rest of your units need to shoot her in the head a lot. Not an easy mission with how we have to set up and avoid her attacks, but I did it. After you win, Chromaria prepares to take everyone down with her final flame, but Walls shows up to try and save her.
You want to live? Live so I can keep holding you close. That's the truth. Because you've fallen for me too. So I'm not going anywhere. Unleash that power. Engulf us both in flames. Anything you wish to do. No matter what. I'm right here.
This is enough to cause her to stop, but she couldn't control her staff. She scrambles to stop it from activating, and...
Chromaria. You're even gorgeous when you're crying.
You really are a fool.
And thus, another Valkyria is saved. Hope she gets a happy life after this. Morgan wakes up and gives Claude full control over Operation Cygnus. A lot is obviously riding on his command and whether he wants to carry out the mission. If he chooses to go through with it, he can end the war then and there, but that would mean a lot of blood on his hands. Riley sees this and...
This isn't just your burden to bear. I'm as guilty as you. If you turn that key, I'll carry the weight with you. So don't keep everything bottled up inside. Come what may, we're in this together.
The capital is now in sight, but Forseti ambushes our heroes with a giant electrified net. When given an hour to surrender, Claude uses the time to try and think of a plan. The only plan he can think of is to send a small fire team to take out the generator powering the nets. But once that team is out there, there is no plan to rescue them afterwards. It's a literal suicide mission. Claude knows that Raz wants to be part of that team and doesn't want to send him out. But in the end...
You're trusting me with a mission that'll make or break the whole damn war effort. Like I'm a real hero. What, you don't think I can pull it off? Who's a better fit for your plan than Raz the Invincible? Please, Raz, just drop it. No, I want to hear you say it. Order me to go. You're not a scaredy cat anymore. Or was that talk about growing up nothing but BS? Put on your big boy pants and just say it. Raz! Please. Get us out of here. I'm gonna nail this one, Commander.
Best bro ever. Lena also wants to join Raz, but he wants her to stay safe until he gets back. You do get to choose who follows Raz, otherwise the other characters focus on holding the upper path that's full of enemies. And since whoever is following Raz will die, this is the one time in the series that I know of where you technically cannot have a perfect playthrough. At least they all have unique dialogue when selected and when the mission ends. But Raz is so full of life and excitement for what's about to happen. Yeah, what a badass. Here, the blizzard heavily reduces vision for all units. There are plenty of enemy grenadiers to take out, and it's about getting Raz and his squad mate to the waypoint. Once you succeed, Claude pretends to surrender to Forsetti until Raz disables the generator. At first, it looks like it didn't work, but Raz makes it, takes out the guys guarding it, gets injured in the process, but otherwise, he busts it up. Now the ship can plow on through. Of course, this is when your friends learn that they aren't going back for Raz and company. They try to radio him despite orders for radio silence, leading to an emotional scene of everyone clamoring to talk to him until Raz tells them to go on without him.
Live enough for me to hear me.
There he is! Over here!
Hey. You got a light?
Raz.
Pour one out for a real badass. We get a scene where some Northern Cross troops are buying time for our heroes to finish the mission. The Centurion charges on through the port and near the capital square, so it's time to plant that bomb and skedaddle. It's a hard start as the enemies get to take the first turn, and if you don't have a good setup, you may find yourself down a person and a vehicle. Otherwise, you're still focusing on capturing bases to prevent enemy reinforcements. You can blow up structures to block off or crush any enemies under it. And once done, Forsetti tells one of the Hell Twins to stop Claude by any means necessary, even if it means blowing herself up.
I don't want to die!
The attack damages the Hoffman to the point where it needs repairs. Now Claude and the others need to backtrack once Forsetti breaks into the ship to find Angie. This is where Minerva's ability to lead around other units is useful, while Andre and his team hold off the intruders. It's at this point that Lena denounces her brother and takes his name for good. Forsetti berates Claude for getting Raz killed as if he's the only good guy in this story, even when told that Angie wanted all the fighting to stop.
Angie would never throw her life away. We made a promise. She said she'd be waiting for me. That's why I vowed to save her.
Yeah, he's a lost cause. Kai shoots Forsetti, and after a monologue about how everyone else is twisted, we finally get the reason for his betrayal. He was escorting Valkyria from Vinland to Europa with full knowledge that he was abducting people for the sake of war. So when he leaked this detail to the Empire, the Federation found out and tried to stop him. He only escaped thanks to Angie. He promised to save her someday, and I guess this is a last-minute attempt to sympathize with someone who went crazy and had people die for someone's sake. Of course, it certainly helps that no one in command thought to check on the Ranger Corps or see if someone was impersonating Kai Shulin. What were the higher-ups doing all this time? Someone had to know what was going on at some point. Anyway, sad time over. Time to blow up a city. Claude dismisses the bridge team as he prepares to activate the bomb, but Riley stays with him to help with the bomb as promised. Collective guild, together to the end, that's how it should be.
Attention! The Empire has agreed to a ceasefire. All units in combat are to immediately disengage.
Oh, god damn it! Claude is furious that everything he and Squatty sacrificed were for nothing. He thinks about going through with the bomb, but upon hearing the sound of a child crying for his mother, he realizes that doing so is a step too far. Minerva steps in because she does not accept this, so she has to be told that activating the bomb is akin to genocide.
Even if it's short-lived, we'll finally have peace again. Do you want more sacrifices? If so, what was the point of the ones we've already made?
So Claude goes out to congratulate the remaining squad members before meeting Walls and Chromaria. They ask what will happen to Angie and are happy to hear that Lena will take care of her. Oh right, Belgar is still around. Yeah, he's acting on his own now and wants to detonate the bomb at sea for science. Walls offers our heroes the use of his tank to chase Belgar so they can get the ship running again, leading to a tug of war between a massive snow cruiser and a submarine. To truly stop it, you need to shoot the harpoon launchers on the submarine. You can get a clear shot from traveling alongside the vessel and clearing some enemies, but if you give Kai an anti-armor rifle, you can shoot all of the launchers in the first turn. Just make sure you resupply her weapon. Disabling the ship doesn't stop Belgar from sneaking aboard and activating the bomb. To make matters worse, he is back on the battlefield in his own personal tank, leading to our final boss battle with 2 parts. Riley has to get on board the Centurion to save Angie, while everyone else concentrates on Belgar. His tank can travel underwater through the holes in the ice, and you can divert him by blowing up those ice cracks. He will eventually surface somewhere, which is the best time to open fire on him due to the engines coming up. As the tank takes damage, Belgar monologues about his genius before summoning reinforcements. Normally, only one of these engines can go down at a time, but if you equip your Grenadier with an anti-armor weapon, you can stack them with orders to spread damage out and actually take down all of the engines at once. You can do this with Riley, even if she's technically on board the ship at this point. Speaking of, while she's inside the ship, Nicola shows up to shoot her. This doesn't stop Riley from going to save Angie, and even Nicola walks off to find Belgar. Miles gets Claude onto the ship, who in turn goes to save the girls. Nicola finds Belgar trapped under his tank, and because he failed his mission...
Don't be scared. It'll only hurt for a moment.
The self-destruct switch! When did you...
No more failures. Just like you wanted. Kiara is waiting for us. Come, Lord Belgar.
Nicola, stop! Don't you dare! I command you!
How ironic. He created her to be like this, and now she is his undoing. Miles gets Claude and the girls into his tank, but it looks like they're trapped. However, a miracle happens when the ship opens a path for them, leading to a last-minute escape.
Rest in peace, Centurion. You were with us until the very end. Our most stalwart friend. And the finest soldier of us all.
Certainly a beautiful way to go out. In the post-credits, we see Kai and Angie together trying to live in peace like Forsetti wanted, while Claude is helping Riley rebuild the Miller Company. Our main character recounts all the struggles he and his friends had, and also the relationships that helped them survive.
With the unexpected announcement of a ceasefire, the Second European War came to an abrupt end, leaving soldiers and civilians alike to count the Eastern Theater's almost unfathomable losses. A death toll numbering over 10 million. It had been a global war, a conflict beyond anything the world had ever faced. Historians speculate that the ceasefire saved Europa from a cataclysmic drop in population. Yet the truth of Operation Cygnus and of the Valkyria themselves was swiftly hidden from the public eye. And so this story of those who crossed the frozen sea passed into history untold.
So yeah, this is a wonderful game. Not quite on the same level as the first because of some mission designs, but the character stories are what made the experience work. The story can also be a bit formulaic, but everyone from Claude to Raz to Angie grows on you over time, and you want them to have a happy ending. The themes surrounding war are very believable and expressed artfully, which gives context for why characters behave the way they do. It does suck that the war doesn't truly end with this game because of story continuity, but maybe a 5th game can finally end that conflict, if we ever get such a game. The last thing I'll mention is that the game does offer some extra content, including a new game plus, a hard mode, new missions, and the cemetery feature that lets you revive fallen units. And to revive Raz, you have to complete a super special awesome mission to do that, and it is worth it.
Yo, told you I was invincible.
If you love the first game, you'll be right at home with this one. Whether it's the gameplay or the story, there's a lot to like that will leave you wanting more. I'm the Media Hunter. Media's my prey, and reviewing them my way.
Father's sword he hath girded on, and his wild harps long behind him.
Hey. You got a light?
No.